Hello, my name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. I was born July 4th, 1986, and today I want to say thank you for tuning in to try to figure out how to get things better with your dog. You got issues with your dog. So today I've got something I got to say that in reality I just want to ask some questions. I got to ask some questions, and not only for you to have to hear and try to figure out, but for me to have to hear and try to figure out, because there's a lot of, the word I'm going to use is confusion going on out here. There's so much confusion happening that I think that once we are able to figure out a few questions and get a better idea of what the heck is actually going on, it can help us get out of that confusion. And one of the questions I really would like for as many people to answer is your dog pushy? Do you look at your dog dead in its face when it's doing something that you don't want it to do? And you say, hey, no. And that dog just looks at you and it just turns and it just does it anyways. Have you ever ran into a situation that, question, you're outside in the backyard, you're outside at the dog park, you're outside, you could be even inside, but especially, on the inside, on the outside, you call your dog, you say, hey, Susie, and your dog looks at you, and it does this. It just walks away. Does your dog do that? Do you try to get your food ready for your dog? And you in the pantry or wherever you got your food hidden, and you're getting it out and you put it in the bowl. Does your dog jump all on you? I mean, just throwing hands. Like, gimme. I said, hurry up. I said, put the bowl down. Gimme. And or, is your dog, get down. Is your dog staring at you around that, you feed your dog at 7 in the morning, 7 at night, or whenever you feed your dog, it's pretty much like you do it at a time. Is your dog sitting there just staring at you? You're doing something. You might be in the middle of a movie or something going on right now and you're doing something and your dog is just staring at you. It's like, woman, man, get up. It's time for you to get me my food right now. Why are you not moving? I'm telling you to get my food right now. Does the dog just do that? Is the dog just all up in the mix with that? Is every single time you get up and you move anything crinkly inside of the household that is just making some sound? Is your dog just quick to just, and it's right there looking at you like, you give me some? You give me some? Does your dog do that? I wonder if other people's dogs do stuff like this. Or is this just something that, one person has or just one person just deals with? Do you ever look at your dog and tell him to do anything, such as get off the bed? And the dog looks at you and it says, no, with a growl and showing the teeth a little bit. And you get a little nervous because you're like, are you serious? No, he's not serious. You try to play it off like it's cute or something, like it's just, whatever. And then you try to grab the dog and the dog just stiffens up. And you're like, I said get off the bed, and it stiffens up. And it starts showing that teeth, it starts growling. And you follow through with putting it off the bed, but you notice that the dog is taking longer to do that for you. That the dog is getting a little scary at this moment. You ever try to put your dog inside of a crate and your dog starts growling, starts showing teeth, starts giving you a protest of, I'm not going in there. You're not putting me in there. Have you ever tried to go get your dog to get it to get on leash, and the dog is just playing this running game? It is like the hardest thing for you to get a simple leash on the dog. The dog is just taking off, man. It's like you try to get on it and it comes up, you go slow, you get it on, and it's just gone. It's just doing this little racing thing going on. Are issues like this happening with you? Are issues happening where you see two dogs in your household and one of the dogs is just smothering the other one? And you kind of got it in your feelings of like, that dog just seems like it doesn't really like it, but yet they're still playing, so what's going on here? Why is this happening? You see, he's going, but it's like he's saying no, but you try to tell him to stop, and the dog just continues to keep on doing it even more. I wonder if you're having issues like this. You have this main issue that I want to talk about right here that a lot of people are having problems with. You got your dog on a leash, and you're taking him to places, and your dog sees another dog, and it starts with a little whimper, starts with a little whine, starts with a little cry, and then it turns into a bark. It turns into the dog is at the end of the leash. It's not like running and lunging, but it's just at the end of the leash, and it starts to just bark. And you say, hey, I don't want you doing that. And your dog just looks back at you, and it's like, woman, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and it keeps barking. You got a dog that's when you got him on leash, and you see a person, and your dog just sees person start to walk towards them, and it just takes off. It's just popping at the end of the leash, and it's It's just screaming. It is no longer barking. It is making sounds that you're just like, what the heck is going on right now? What is happening? Why is this dog screaming? Does your dog see strollers, see bikes, see cars, see anything? It just goes at the end of the leash and it's just barking. And you're like, it seems like you're happy, but at the same time, the appearance of them looks like they're ready to harm, man. So you're confused. What's going on here? And all of this I'm going to say is something that I just continuously keep on seeing, that I do not care where I go. I see the same dogs everywhere. And I'll be fascinated to be able to travel outside of this country just to see the same thing everywhere. That's like a new universal thing that's going on with people and their dogs, where I'm going to say that the dogs are confused about who is in that leadership position. And if you're having any of these issues, and especially one from being on the bed and showing teeth at you to try to get it to get off, being on a place bed, being on the floor in the house, and it's in the hallway for you to get to your own bathroom, and your dog is laying there, and you're like, can you get up? And it opens an eye, it looks up at you laying there in the middle of the hall, and it does nothing. It just stays there. And you're like, come on, move. And the dog just lays there. So then you just start to jump over the dog. These issues right here, the dog does not understand and know who the leadership person is inside of that household. And that's why you're not getting any success. This is where I'm going to say that a lot of y'all are running into scenarios like this because you're wanting to be too lenient, is a good word I could say, on the dogs. Not understanding that they are dogs. They're dogs. And not all dogs are the same. You know, I made a couple videos this past couple days, and I've just decided I'm not going to put them up because I got a little hostile with what I was saying. Because in reality, I think I've come down to the realization that what I say is simple. If it is that simple, then anyone who's ever watched any of my videos talking about standing and doing nothing and giving a little bit of leash pressure when the dog is doing it, if you haven't fixed it in 5 minutes, then what I'm saying is really not that simple as can be. So I'm gonna have to change up my language with saying that it may be simple once you're able to like see it in action the correct way, but for you to try to do it on your own, you're struggling because the dog doesn't understand you, who you are. So when you take a dog that is like, say, just straight up, man, disrespecting you, oh, get down, that is just disrespecting you, just doesn't listen to anything you say, doesn't move when you ask him to move, doesn't stop when you tell him to stop. You cannot just come at that dog and just say, hey, sweet baby, can you please? It just doesn't work. That doesn't happen. And it's the unfortunate thing that there's dogs that are all different here. And this is where I think that we as a people are struggling with being able to get the real help that we're actually looking for from our dogs. Because there's what I'm going to say is a spectrum of the easy, not so much as easy, I'm going to say the agreeable to the disagreeable. An agreeable dog, like I can say this border collie right here, he's very agreeable. Not all of them are. I've met ones that are nothing like this boy. And he's agreeable. When I say, hey, I want you to this, he's like, okay, I'll do that. If I say, hey, no, I don't want you to that, he's like, oh, okay, well, I won't do that. Pretty much every time I say down to this dog, I don't care how many times he gets up. I do want him to stay. But if he gets up and I say down, he just lays down. He just, okay, I'll do that. Anytime. He's never, ever ran away from me. He's never just been out anywhere. I take him random places, let him get out to go potty and do what he do. He never, ever, ever has ran away from me. He always stays close, every time. If I tell him to calm down, he calms down. If I tell him to lay down, he lays down. If I tell him to get off me, he gets off me. If I tell him to do anything, he does everything I tell him to do without me having to do anything. I don't have to even raise my voice much. All I have to do is just say, hey, Oreo, I don't want that. Oreo, stop. Oreo here. Oreo down. Oreo, no. And he's like, okay. Very agreeable. And you know what else I could do to fast track this dog's existence, to be able to get him to be better? I could throw a million treats at this dog. He's so agreeable. He'll take that treat and say, hey, you're awesome, man. Great, cool. But I have another dog that's right next to me that is the opposite of that, on the other side of the spectrum, that is disagreeable. Every time that I say, hey, Johnny, I want you to get off the bed, and he looks at me like, buddy, what you gonna do about that to get me off? Because I'm already here. I'm not getting off. This bed is high enough as it is. I'm not getting down. I don't want to get down. I don't want to do what you want me to do. When I tell him down, you see, if you watch me a little bit, you've seen this with this dog, that he gets up and I say down, I look dead at him, and he just stands there and he stares at me. That's it. I said down, Johnny, and he's like, and then I got to say it again. Hey, Johnny, get down. And then he's like, he'll slowly start to do it. Very, very, very disagreeable. when I was training this dog with the treats and doing everything and in the dog school and working with him, he did all right. He did really good in reality. But as soon as I started to not have a treat on me, he turned into what he really truly showed me was a very, very, very disagreeable dog. He says, if you got that treat, I'll do it. If you don't have that treat, I'm off. This dude's ran away from me a few times. He brought him out here. This dude had a perfect off-leash recall in the school. But when I put him in a real-world situation, he was gone. He was gone. He was nowhere to be seen. This dude was ran, and thank God he stopped at the street and didn't go across the street a few times. He had at least that in him that he stopped at that. It's a 60-mile-an-hour street. We're talking the street is a distance from here. He was running. He's on the move. This dude jumped the fence to go to the neighbor's house. He was everywhere. I couldn't contain him. I couldn't keep him in a kennel. I couldn't keep him in a crate. I couldn't keep him in nothing. He was just gone. He was always gone. Extremely disagreeable. So when I was giving him treats, he's like, hey, I'll do that. But when you don't have it, watch, I don't care. What do I need to do that for you? So then with him, the only way in reality I was able to fix that disagreeableness with what I'm going to say is pressure. Pressure had to come in because when I use pressure on this dog, he shuts down. He's like, oh my goodness, the world, I'm going to die. I can't handle it. If I put any kind of leash on this dog, if I got one on me right now, if I put it on him, you see him, this dude, he don't challenge nothing when there's a leash on him. And I say down, this dude will stay here. I can go to sleep and he'll still be here tomorrow morning and 5 days later. He won't even eat. He won't drink because that's the pressure to him is too much. And this is the problem that I'm seeing that we got going on. We want to treat all dogs like this dog, and they're not all that way. They're all more on the spectrum of disagreeable than they are on the agreeable side. And I can prove that by everything and every question I just asked right there. If your dog is doing any of those things to you, it doesn't do what you tell it to do. It just moves. If you got a treat in your hand, it really responds really well. But you take the treat away, the dog does nothing. The dog doesn't move for you. The dog doesn't get down for you. The dog doesn't respond to you. The dog doesn't listen to anything that you're saying unless you have something of substantial value. And that's where I'm going to say you're running into the most difficult of difficulties, because that's where the dog's smartness really starts to irritate the all heck can be out of you. Because the dog knows the differences here, and they're not that dumb. They're so smart. And that's why we're struggling with, I only want to give treats to my dog to get my dog to do what I want him to do. You're stumbling, you're failing. You're failing. And I guarantee that because I see that outside. I see it. Either you have that dog that is agreeable and you can give them treats and they look good. This is where I'm going to say 10%. That 10% magic mark, that 10% of the dogs look real good. 10% of the dogs, I give a treat, the dog does it. I don't have a treat, the dog still does it. 10% of the dogs don't need a treat at all. They don't need no pressure at all. They're just like, hey, listen to your voice, and they move and they come, and it's a beautiful experience. That's 10%. And we all want that. That's what we want. But yet what we all have is a very disagreeable, very pushy, very arrogant, very just dog. We have a true dog is what I'm going to say. What dogs are, and the vast majority of what dogs are all about. Dogs, in reality, do not need us as human beings. There's some that are bred to, they need us because they couldn't survive because we got to cut their hair, cut their nails, but as far as the actual instinctual desire behind them, inside of them, they do not need us anymore. And we are taking them and forcing them to be with us when, in reality, they don't need us the way that we think that they need us. And when you have that dog that's disagreeable, that's a true dog, just a dog, you're running into problems. Because you want to give that dog a treat and give that dog praise to try to get that dog to listen to you. And the dog is saying to you, I don't need to do this. I could run, I could be free. Because there's so many dogs that I know that when you drop that leash and that dog doesn't think that you're the leader, the dog is gone. It is gone. It's gone. It's a gone dog. It's just running, man. It's running. It's on the move. It's taking you a half hour, 5 hours to catch that dog to bring it back if you are able to get that dog back. But sometimes they just don't come back. That dog is gone. And that's because that dog knows that it doesn't need you. And it doesn't need you because it knows that you're not going to be a good leader for them. And it knows that based on everything that's been going down. And this is where I'm going to say that the vast majority of dogs, I know there's all this information. And again, I'm going to say this right now that I don't know everything. But I do know something, that I get extreme success when I'm working with dogs because I come at the dog and I treat the dog as a dog. I don't treat the dog anything else as that. And I understand that applying pressure to a dog is not destroying the dog, hurting the dog, killing the dog, and going to abuse the dog, is going to make the dog not like me. Because I do this over and over and over and over again. That I give pressure to a dog and I watch the dog relax, calm down, look at me, come to me and just say, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? What are you doing over here? Because they want that. They want that. That's what dogs are. And I think that we as humans are struggling right now because we're trying to treat them as if they're not these arrogant, pushy, domineering type animals. They're very, very tough. They're very strong. I don't care how cute and how fluffy and how any of that is. The attitude, the instinct inside of them, they're dogs. And dogs are not so, some are easy to where I'll say that spectrum of 1 to 10. This dude is a 1 and this dude is like an 8. He's like a 7 or an 8 on that scale of just disagreeableness. And I've got one that's pretty much at a 9, 8, 9. That Dalmatian, she's like, I don't need you, dude. I'll do whatever I want. I'm like, what's up, girl? You fun and exciting to work with in a different way. Because I don't know what it is, but very, very disagreeable dogs love to just come my way. And I like working with them to let them know, I got you, man. I got your back. There's nothing for you to worry about. But they don't want to give up that sense of control so easily to just anybody. You have to be someone very, very specific to that animal. And that's where we as humans need to understand how to treat dogs as they are dogs. And know that giving pressure, saying no to a dog is not going to ruin your dog, is not going to ruin your relationship. You not saying no to that dog is what is destroying your relationship right now. That's why you are struggling so much to the point that majority of people are out here crying with their dogs because of how they're acting. You're crying. You're very, very just so emotional because your dog is not doing anything that you're looking for them to do. You're hurting right now. You're hurting. And it's because you don't want to say no to that dog. And you don't want to say no to that dog understands. They're not human beings. To a child, I could look at my child and I could say, hey, no, stop that, knock it off. I could be firm out of my voice and I could speak like that and a child knows 100% what I'm saying. But you do that to a dog, it looks at you like, okay, what do you want now? And this is where for me, I just know for a fact that using my leash, I can communicate effectively to get the dog to do what I want him to do. And again, the dog in the moment is not gonna like it. He's not. But in the long run is when he's gonna say, thank you for allowing me to be able to understand who you are so that I can come and follow you and you can show me to be able to have a great life on this planet. And this is why the majority of people are not getting any help because they're following certain people that are like, never say no to a dog. I get it at the end of the day. I'm like, I don't want to have to be a disciplinary to my dog. I don't want to have to give my dog a correction. I don't want to have to say no to my dog. But it's not a matter of what I want to do. It's a matter of what I have to do, and I don't have a choice because I'm dealing with an animal. It's an animal. And even with my own children, I'm not just going to allow them to just run in the store and touch everything and go. I'm going to say, no, you want to touch stuff, you're putting 2 hands on this cart, and you're not doing nothing right now. I don't want to have to do that, but I have to do that to make sure that we understand that we're going to have a better existence in the future and not being running all wild and running all crazy, just going super wild and being all savage. No, we need to be calm. We need to be calculated. We need to be in control right now. We're not out here to just run a fool and be wild and be crazy. That's something that I think a lot of people are struggling with right now because you're hearing from someone that says, if you put leash and you give a dog a correction, you're evil, you're wrong. And I'm going to look at you and say, you're evil, you're wrong if you're giving a dog that is dominating you as a human. A dog has no desire to do that to another dog. But to a human being that it's living with, seeing how they're just able to get away with more and more and more and more and more, your dog is pushing you, man. It's pushing you to get the heck out of the house. And once it starts to know how to be able to get control of taking the food, you're in I'm going to say a dangerous situation. And I deal with this so many times, people. And I know that it's out there. And there's a whole group of people that don't have any idea about any of the stuff that's going on because they don't deal with it. The most people I work with, 8 out of 10, if not 9 out of 10, the trainers that they call, they say, I'm not going to help. I can't show. I don't do that. I don't do that. You got dog-to-dog fighting in the household? Oh, I don't do that. You got a dog that's reactive on leashes like this? I don't do that. They're not doing the work that they're signed up to be able to do, that they put themselves for hire to do. Or get down. That they're not doing their work. So then that's where people are at a loss and they're confused. Because the main thing I'm going to say is they're not doing the work because I don't think that they know how to fix the work. They don't know how to do anything with it. It's interesting around here. Many training facilities have shut down recently because I don't think that they know what the heck they're doing to be able to get the help. And that's where I'm going to have to change from what I say is simple to say that maybe it's simple to me. Maybe I've seen something about hearing from all these different people to figure out what's going on here and then understand that they're dogs. That I've always looked at a dog and I treated it like a dog. I've always gave the dog the respect of a dog. I've always given the dog what it needs based on how it is, what it's about, what it's able to do for me, and the whole sole purpose of why the dog was created. The dog is a dog. And since I've always treated my dogs as dogs, I have never had issues with my dogs doing anything that I go and help people out with. Because for me personally, I had to start asking so many questions on what people's lifestyles are like so that I can recreate that into this dog, so that I can see it. And I've seen this dog growl at me while he's on the bed. I've seen this dog growl at me while I try to put him in the crate. I've seen this dog jumping all on me to get him his food because I started treating him the way that the average person likes to treat your dog inside of your home. And it's not giving you any help, because just being nice and being agreeable is not what the dogs are looking for, because that's not what dogs are all about. And it's something that I just continuously keep on seeing over and over and over again, that when I'm able to get the success out of a dog that maybe you don't agree with. You don't agree with that method. You don't agree with the way that it looks. You don't feel comfortable with it even. And I'm going to say this, if you don't feel comfortable with doing what you need to do to get your dog into a better place, especially to stop being so reactive outside at other people, then that's where I'm going to go, where every other trainer is saying to you, get rid of the dog. Get rid of the dog. And that's why I believe that most trainers out here are saying that's the best word to use, dispatch your dog, to put your dog down, because they don't know how to fix it. They don't know what to do. That's why we have so many trainers out here that are saying that to you. Oh, your dog is dangerous. You need to put your dog down. And I know, and I've spoken, and I've helped dogs that have been in this situation over and over again, where trainers are saying, put the dog down, put the dog down, even over a phone conversation, a trainer is giving their advice of put the dog down. Put the dog down, because the dog it is what it is. It's not going to get any better. You're going to watch it get worse. And I handle that dog, and I get that dog out of that. And the person in the moment, in the time, says, that look crazy, man. What's going on right now? And I'm saying to them, watch. Give me. I know you don't know me, but trust me for a moment. Trust me. Watch how your dog, and I say it straight up. I'm not going to mess your dog up, and if I do, I got you. Worst case scenario, what's going to happen? They told you to put the dog down anyways. But let me show you something to be able to let you see that you do not need to do that with this dog, that we could get this dog out of this. And people are, when you're at that last ditch, you'll let anyone in reality do anything at that moment. And that's kind of the beauty that I can run into with helping out people, to showing you the real way to work with some of these dogs that are extremely disagreeable. And even from that number, from 3 to 10 on the disagreeable list, that's what majority of all dogs are. And those dogs, you're not giving them a treat to get them to stop doing what they're doing. You're watching your stuff just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And it's something that, it doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. It doesn't matter if it makes you feel comfortable. There's some stuff on this planet that we as human beings, especially a man and a woman, we have to do. We have to do. We just have to do it. We have to figure out what is the way to actually be able to get the help that I need with this animal. And you have to do it. I don't care how you feel. I don't care if you agree with the methods or not. That's not for us to debate, to try to figure out. It's a matter of actually getting the dog into a better place. And that's something that I think is what we're failing at right now. I don't agree with the prong collar. Well, who cares if you don't agree with it? But if you need it because you do not have enough inside of you to be able to actively communicate to your dog what you're looking for, maybe that's a tool that you need to be able to make sure that you can have the success with your dog. I don't much need that for me and myself with my dogs, with what I'm doing. And there's going to be many trainers out here that are going to say the same stuff, because I know how to do stuff differently with dogs. I know how to handle them in such a different way. I know how to get my point across in a different way, that I don't need those tools. But that's not for me to say you should be able to do everything that I do. Because again, what I say is simple to the next person is exceptionally complex. So I understand. I understand why you're not getting success. Because my simple is simple. It's easy. When I look at dog, I see dog, I put dog on a slip leash and I'm just like this. And the dog stops. I'm like, see, that was easy, right? But then when I hand that leash right back to you, the dog is just doing the most again. So I already know in my experience of working with many dogs, I say if we did this and we switched this and we put this piece of equipment on, it would be much easier for you to be able to keep this dog in line, in check, to be able to get the success that you're looking for, so that dog finally looks at you as being the leader. And this is something that not a lot of people like to hear. Not a lot of people like to know. But not every single person out here has the same, and it depends on the time frame of when I come in to help you with your dog. You got a 3-year-old dog that's been pushy with you since 8 weeks old. Good luck on just giving that dog a treat to get it to stop doing something. Good luck, good luck. Have at it, and I'm gonna watch you just struggle, man. You're gonna struggle. That's why the trainer says, put the dog down, man, because they don't know what to do. That's what I've just really, I think, have came up with understanding this past weekend. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what the heck to do. They don't have any sort of methods that they know how to figure out how to be able to help you. They don't know what to do. And if they don't know what to do, the first thing they're going to do is blame you, blame the dog, get rid of one of them. And they can't get rid of you, so they're going to say get rid of the dog. So I understand that if you don't know. But there's some people out here that do know. And there's a lot of people out here that do know. And I see all their channels. But you know what? We all got 10, 15 subscribers. We so tiny. No one, not no one, but not many people are really watching. But there's one thing that I'm going to say is they're not going to be able to shut it all down forever. If you really want some help, the real help is out there for you. And you have to, unfortunately today, is dig and look for it. And get out of your feelings of what you agree with or you don't agree with based on what someone else has said. And understand that if you're struggling right now and you don't know what to do and you're seeing things being chaos right now, that you got to do something that you're not going to like. You're not going to feel good about in the short term. But we as humans need to understand it's the long term that we need to be looking for. If you stay in what you're staying in now in the long term, you're going to stay there. But if you do something right now, you're going to see things get substantially better. Soon, fast, rapidly, day by day by day, that you're going to see. Now, to get your dog to do certain commands so perfect, get them to down and get them to sit, and yeah, it's going to take time. But if your dog is barking at other dogs on leash, I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you, I can get your dog to stop doing that in a day. A day. Give me a day, give me 24 hours. Allow me to work that dog for 24 hours, and that dog's going to stop doing that. It's going to stop with that dog on the leash with my leash. And I do this so many times that at this point today that give me any dog and I will get it done. I'll get it done. And I'm no longer in the I'm unsures and I don't knows, because that's how I started this past few years of I don't know what I don't know if I could perform the way I could perform. I don't know. I say I can, but at this point today, give me your dog and I'm going to guarantee it. And if I can't get it done guaranteed, I'll pay you. Now, you ain't even going to pay. I'll slap you some money because I wasted your time. And that's the way that I am today, because I've just seen this over and over and over again and realized that I understand what these dogs are. They're dogs. And I know how to speak dog very well, and I don't know why. I know how to speak dog really good, and I know how to speak human very well. I know how to speak this language to speak to human beings, and it don't matter what the actual language is. I know how to speak to human beings. I don't need to know Chinese to speak to someone in China so that I can get my point across of what I need done. Let me be face to face, and I'm going to show them what I'm talking about. I know how to maneuver, and I know how to talk to both of these species out here very, very well. And that's something that I think a lot of people are struggling with. You only know English, man. You don't know how to use your body to explain to somebody what's going on. You only can use your words. And if that other person doesn't know your words, you can't talk to them. And that's where I'm going to say certain people on this planet are just going to be different. So what's simple to me is not so simple to everyone, I'm coming to figure out. That sometimes when I just explain to do something, you're not getting it because you're just not getting it. That's the only way I can say it. Because you're not able to effectively hear the words that I'm saying and see what it is that I'm doing when I'm standing next to a dog. That's why it's pointless for me to sit out here and worry about showing you dog after dog after dog. You're not going to learn anything from that. You're just not. You need to understand your dog, where your dog is, you and where you are. You need to understand where your relationship with your dog is. Don't worry about the relationship with me and my dog and where I am with mine. And that's where a lot of people are stumbling and fumbling. I'm going to find that next little trick to be able to get this better. No, the next trick that you're finding online is worsening your relationship over more and more. Because most people that I know, you start on that habit of I need a trainer, you find one, you go to a PetSmart for six lessons, and you realize actually things now are unfortunately getting worse. What the heck is going on? It's getting worse. I thought it'd be getting better. My dog seems to really, really respond to me. It's staring at me. Everything is good. It's looking at me. But then when I get home, the dog is running even more of a fool. Even more, way more than when we started. And that's where I'm going to say that the help that's out here today on this YouTube is getting so selective that the real help is so hard to find anymore. The trainers out here that are actually, they know how to be able to get this reactivity out of dogs is starting to disappear. You're seeing this trickery looking stuff that looks good for 5 minutes. And then 5 minutes later when the dog goes back to its home, it's still doing the same mess again. That's what people are finding. And that's why for me, the number one thing, I got to go to your neighborhood where you take your dog and handle that dog and move that dog to let that dog know there's some new stuff going on here, because someone that knows how to speak dog is going to finally speak to it. And that's something that there's a lot of trainers out here that understand this information. There just is. It's not like I'm the only one or there's only 3. No, there are abundance, but they're all not going to because you don't agree. You don't agree. You want to be able to do it a different way because you don't want to be mean as you think that you're being. You don't want to be rough as you think that you're being. You want to always be agreeable. And that's where you're failing, because what you need is The word from a trainer that I really appreciate how he says it. You need an intervention. You need something serious about to go down right now to change what's been happening. You need something real serious right now. You need an intervention. And it's not just let me come in and give you a treat or four and you're gonna stop doing this. No, you need someone to come in to just change up everything that's going on that you've ever been doing and explain to you that you can no longer do what you've been doing right now. You can go back a little bit later from now when that dog understands who you are, to holding them and cuddling them and giving them snacks all the time and letting them eat all your food all the time and doing all that. You can get back to that. But there's going to be a time that you have to look at that dog and say, I'm sorry, dog, but you're a dog. You're a dog. And treat it like it is, a dog. Because the more and more that you're treating it worse than even a human being, trying to be too agreeable. You're not agreeable with anybody on this planet except your dog. And that's why it's running a fool. But everything else in your life looks all right, because when you go to work and someone's late, you're like, hey, why were you late? You did this. I'm going to write you up. You know, counseling right now, or whatever people do with work. I'm going to write up something. You get written up. There we go. I guess that's the terms. But with your dog, oh, whatever. Oh, it's okay. Oh, it's fine. Oh, it's all right. No, it's not fine. It's not all right. That's why things are getting worse. That's why you're unable to do anything that you want to do with your dog, because you're too agreeable and you're too much on the side of, I don't want to put pressure. I don't want to put pain. These words that are being thrown out here that everyone's trying to say is so ruthless and so wrong. Like, I understand there's methods to be able to get through some of this stuff that can take you years and years. But y'all don't have years. Y'all got a weekend in reality to figure out how to be able to get your stuff in a better situation. Because otherwise you keep hearing over and over from more and more people that just put the dog down. And that's what's going on in your brain. My dog's, it's not going to get any better. I got to put it down. So you got to put in action sooner than later. You don't have this time to just stand around and hang around and make it get better in a couple of months. To get your dog to do a perfect down, to get your dog to do a perfect sit, to get your dog to do a perfect heel walk with you, yeah, you got time. But to get your dog to stop lunging and barking at other dogs, you need to get that done now. And that can be done now. It doesn't take months. It doesn't take years. It doesn't take days. It takes day. It takes most dogs a lesson. But it's a matter of just actually doing it. And it's a matter of actually just putting in and figuring out how to get it done. And get out of your feelings of, I don't agree with that method. I don't agree with those people. I don't agree with that. I don't agree. Who the heck cares what you agree and disagree with? You got mess going on. You got things that are happening that are confusing the heck out of you. And the more that you're confused, the more that your dog is confused, the more that your dog is confused, the more that you're not going to be able to just live your life as a human being. You're struggling. You're hurting. You're beat down. You're anxious. You're just in a pitiful state because of what your dog is doing. You're thinking about it all the time. It's always just going, spinning circles on you. And that's where you got to get out of that. And if you want to get out of that, you got options in reality. To do something that you don't agree with, or to put the dog down. And you also still don't agree with that. But yet people are more quick to go ahead and put the dog down, as opposed to just saying no to the dog the way that the dog understands. That I read so many books, all this stuff. I read so many books on what the behavior is of dogs and everything about dogs. But none of these books ever talk about a dog being a dog. These books are talking about human beings and rats and all these other animals that have nothing to do with dog. They're not telling you what a dog is. And I think that that's where, for me, that I don't know what my issues are with life and how I've always been a certain way about certain things on this planet, that I see dog when I look at dog. When I look at him, I'm like, that's a dog. And I know how to speak to that dog because I'm going to treat it like a dog. But all these books are always talking about different animals and then talking about humans and this and this. And that's where it's so confusing to me. Because over this past weekend, I've read 4 books now about behavior in dogs. Well, it's supposed to be about dogs. But it's about behavior in humans and behavior in other animals. And behavior in other animals to teach us more about behavior in humans. So these methods that we're trying to use is to be more for humans than it is about a dog. And we're not studying dogs. We're studying what the effects of us as humans are about the dog. We're studying the dog to try to figure us out as humans. But we're not studying the dog. We're not looking at the dog and saying, what is the dog needing? What is the dog desiring? Because when I allow this dog to just do what he wants to do and just be free, this dog is crazy. He's a dog that I see everyone else have. Just wild, jumping, growling, showing teeth, just pushy. But when I come in, I look at this dog and I say, get down. And I'll say it right now. You see? Get down. He's going to look at me and say, all right, man. All right. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. And that's what he needs sometimes, unfortunately. And I say, Johnny, get down. That's what he needs. so that he understands what's going on here. I can't just, oh, please, sweet baby, and throw him a treat. The dude would just be running away again. He'll be growling at me. He'll be showing teeth at me again. Would be doing what I see that everyone's dog is doing. He would be doing to me. And sometimes I don't want to have to do that. But it's not a matter of most cases what I want to do. It's what I have to get done. I don't have a choice. That's why I love farm work. I don't want to go out there right now and shovel up all the pine shavings that all the chickens have pushed out. I made it all pretty and all neat and spent hours on putting it all in there and getting it set up for them to just scrape it and, and kick it all out of the chicken coop. I don't want to go out there and shovel it all up and put it back in there and do that again. But I got to get it done. I got to get it done. I don't have a choice. I really don't want to go over there and have to collect all the eggs and clean them all up and put them all in there. But I got to get it done. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. I don't want to have to come out here and clean up all the brush to make sure that I can see where all the snakes are and get all the snakes out of here, but I got to get it done. Hours, days, and days and days of hours of work to have to do something to make sure that I can be safe out here. I don't want to do it, but I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. That's one thing that I learned fast about being out here and doing what I'm doing. And that's the same thing that I see with my dogs. I don't want to have to say no to my dog. I want him to just do what I want him to do. I'm just like, please, just do it. Just do it. That's all I want. Like, hey, just do it. Just do it. Why can't you just do it, man? Just do it. Please, just do it. Just get off the bed, man. Please, why don't you just do it? I'm just asking you, just do it. But that's not how they work, man. That's not how they work. That's not what dogs are. That's not how they are in any sort of way. They're like, hey, man, get down. That's how they are. I said get down. I'm telling you to get down. I'm not giving you the option to get down. That's what dogs are. And I don't want it to be that way. But I didn't create this. And that's where there's a difference that I'm always going to be than majority of people on this planet, and especially the vast majority of all dog trainers. My inspiration does not come from we evolved. My inspiration came from, I'm a man that was created by God, and these animals are created by God, and I am not the same as them. Then I am not an animal. I am a human being. These are animals. I am not that. The things that work on me do not work on animals. And I'm able to have that change of understanding that these are animals. And I'm not that. And I'm not anything to be represented as that. That my inspiration of seeing has a specific lens. That the stories of how I know how to get my animals to work right come through the inspiration of how to build relationships through reading my Bible. That's why I'm looking at everything much, much differently than the vast majority of every single dog trainer out here. Because I have faith 100% that I am a child of God. And I'm nothing like the same as these dogs in any sort of way. I am not. I'm not no monkey. I'm not no zebra. I'm not no fish. I'm not no plant. I'm a human. And I was specifically created to be a human. And that's why for me, I think that what's simple to me is not so simple to everyone. That's why it's so simple to me that I can put dog on a leash and just get it to stop doing what I want it to do instantly, because I know that that's an animal and I'm not. And I'm nowhere near close to being involved with them, that I am something that is extremely unique. I may share DNA with other things, but I am nothing of it, because I am the one that is shared of everything out here that is unique, its own lane, that nothing is the same as. Whereas the animals are super similar to all the other animals. I can mix a strange animal with another animal and another animal comes from it. But I can't do that with a human being. A human being makes human being, period. That's it. But an animal with an animal can make an animal. I am not the same. And that's why I am always going to see it differently, speak about it differently, and be everything about differently with these dogs. Because I know for a 100% fact who I am and what I am. And I know what these dogs are. And I'm never going to treat these dogs like myself. Thank you.